Oracle just reporting fourth quarter earnings, as well as two separate AI partnerships moments ago. The stock seems to be rising on those announcements with Google and with Microsoft and OpenAI. Joining us now, Dan Morgan, Senior Portfolio Manager at Synovus Trust. So we got a twofer, or maybe even a threefer, I guess, Dan, with the earnings and then these partnership announcements. What's your big takeaway here? What do you think is the most important thing that investors should be looking at from this news?
Well, Julie, it's kind of a mixed report because, as you mentioned in the beginning, they missed on earnings, they missed on revenue. The all-important number, which is cloud services revenue, which, as you mentioned, they missed slightly. And we also saw the overall growth rate fall to about 20% compared to 25% in the third quarter. But then they beat on their OCI number, their infrastructure cloud business, as you mentioned, was a little bit better than expected, around $2 billion. So it seems to me, guys, like the street is kind of pushing that aside, and they're really just excited about these partnerships and anything that Oracle can do to, move forward their cloud business. They're going to get excited about. I mean, they generate about 38% of their revenues right now from cloud, and Oracle's got a great opportunity. If they can cross-sell their huge mega database population, which is about 400,000 installs, into their cloud business, it'd be huge. So I think that's what everybody's excited about, these partnerships.
Yeah, and Dan, they're just talking to the execs, giving a little commentary, saying throughout fiscal 2025, they talk about continued strong AI demand to push Oracle sales and RPO even higher, result in double-digit revenue growth this fiscal year. Dan, for investors listening right now, they're always looking for smart AI plays. Do you consider Larry Ellison's company to be one of them, Dan?
We do. I mean, I look at Oracle as a dominant player in database. They have about 42% market share. They've been around forever, Josh. I've been following Oracle for over 30 years, and they've got into all the other hot businesses in the past, and then they got into cloud. And, they do have a bit of a distinct advantage over, let's say, an Alphabet or a Google with GCP. They're not quite as large, obviously, as AWS with Amazon and Azure with Microsoft. But they're gaining share. I mean, they're still a single-digit market share, but they're high, single digits, and they're moving up. If they can continue to, like I say, take advantage of this great opportunity they have with this huge installation base, and I think that's what the street sees. And we also see, Josh, consistency. Oracle is very consistent because of their customer base is heavily governmental. They have very reoccurring, about 70% of their revenues are reoccurring. So it's not as risky as, let's say, a high-flying software company that's hoping to close that deal by the end of the quarter so they can beat numbers.
Dan, what is the role that Oracle is playing? When we hear about these new partnerships with OpenAI for its infrastructure, what exactly, where does it fit in?
Well, that's a good question, Julie. Unfortunately, I don't have a perfect answer, but I would expect, because those are the leadership companies. I mentioned Microsoft, Azure, and they're really gaining market share right now in AWS. The fact that they're able to put together these partnerships and be able to work together opposed to working against each other is huge. So I think that's why the street was reacting so positively to this announcement. I think, Josh and Julie, if we were to not have those announcements that they made with those partnerships with GCP and with Azure, I think you might have gotten a little bit of a different reaction on this stock with this earnings report because of that miss that they had in cloud services.
Dan, I want to switch gears here a bit. Stick with the AI theme, Dan, but
right.
Interested, listen, Tim Cook took the stage yesterday and he kind of laid out his AI vision, his AI strategy, and investors, Dan, they were plenty excited about that today. That stock soared. What did you think, Dan? Were you as excited?
Well, it's interesting, Josh, because, everybody was really negative on Apple compared to the other mega techs in terms of their AI strategy. And we talked about that before in the show. Everybody was unveiling this great, upcoming roadmap, Meta, Alphabet, and really Apple was kind of being left behind. And so we were waiting for this developer conference for Tim Cook and company to come out and make their announcement. And there wasn't really too many big changes, Josh and Julie. I mean, instead of hitting like a grand slam home run, like NVIDIA with a Blackwell chip or, Microsoft buying ChatGPT, they're going to do it a little bit at a time with their current product mix. And they outlined that roadmap at the meeting. So I think it's a positive. It gets a new frame of thought surrounding Apple stock in terms of their AI initiatives. And it's not the old rerun that we've heard that Apple's missing out, everybody's passing them up in AI. They definitely have a strategy. and they laid that out, and I think it was a positive.
The stock closed today at a record, Dan, as people kind of took a second look at it. Would you add to an Apple position right now?
You know, Julie, we have massive position in Apple. We started buying it back in 2005 at a cost basis of like $1.23 with all the split adjusted
Must
time.
be nice, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I added it to the buy list, and I'm from the Bay Area, and I was out in California, and I was seeing things really taking off at that time with their MP3 player. This was for the iPhone, and we put it on the list. So, you know, it is a stock that just about everybody holds, and everybody has these huge concentrations in it because it's done so well. So, you know, for, you know, obviously investors that have the right risk tolerance, right objectives, it was something that we'd look at. There's no doubt, Josh and Julie, the stock is very extended right now based on a multiple basis. If you're to look at, let's say, the growth that we're expecting out of it, which is kind of single digit, trades at a pretty high multiple. But, you know, it's been on our list for a super long time. It's been a tremendously successful stock for us. And, you know, it's just been a big winner, so it's hard to turn your back to it. So it's definitely something that is on the list, and we would continue to look at to purchase for the right investor with the right objective and risk tolerance.
And last question on Apple, Dan. You have been, you know, a long time shareholder there. Did you think what Tim Cook announced yesterday? You know, I think one big question investors are trying to figure out whether that kind of jumpstarts some meaningful iPhone upgrade cycle. Any thoughts there, Dan?
That's a great question, Josh, because, you know, they're going to come out in September with iPhone 16. They have the new iOS 18 operating system, which is laden with AI features. They also have the new revamp they're doing on the Siri. They have the Gemini relationship with Alphabet. So is that enough to kind of gel that super cycle upgrade tick that we haven't really seen, right, guys, in the last couple new releases? So I think it could. I think we could make a strong case that, you know, with enough built-in AI features, people would want to go and go get that new iPhone 16 and opposed to just kind of waiting around like they have in the past with iPhone 14 and iPhone 15.
Dan, always great to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.